Hello again and welcome to another webinar with Smithstone Waters. My name is Alistair Mason and I'm going to talk to you about frontier worker permits. So frontier worker permits, what are they? How do you get one? Why do you need one? We'll address all of those things in this webinar today. So firstly, on screen you'll see some of the key points about the frontier worker permit. So there are qualifying criteria that you must meet in order to get one. All of those are listed now, but some of the key ones that I'll pull out for you. Well, firstly, you must have been a worker or self-employed in the UK before the end of 2020. So before the end of the Brexit transitional period. It's relevant because the frontier worker permit is for Europeans after all. It's to protect those people who were perhaps working in the UK and living in Europe. Your typical example would be a banker who lives in Paris at the weekends and commutes to London for work Monday to Friday. Other examples would include people like oil and gas workers who work on rotation. A month living in Poland, a month working in the North Sea. And then, of course, many other types of jobs as well. People who come in to fit out shops and then return to Spain. They would be frontier workers as well. So, there are some criteria that you must fulfill with regard to your work in the UK. It must have been no more than 12 months ago, and there are limitations as to how long you can have spent in the UK during the last year. They're on screen now, along with some exceptions to those general rules. One very important thing to point out is that the frontier worker permit, it doesn't lead to any form of residency in the UK. It's a permit. It's not a form of residency that will give you an indefinite right to live in the UK. It's designed for the holder to come in, perform their work and go home. They're not building time towards their residence in the UK. Now, I talked about some examples of people who would qualify for this permit, such as oil and gas workers, bankers who commute to London frequently. Well, there is one general trend across all of these examples. The work that the individual was performing prior to the end of 2020 must have been genuine and effective. So what is genuine and effective and how do you demonstrate that? Well, we've put some information on screen now, so feel free to hit pause, have a read through it and give yourself an idea of how you can demonstrate that your work in 2020 was genuine and effective. So, we've established what a frontier worker permit is. It's for those people that were living in Europe, working in the UK prior to the end of 2020. There are some conditions around timings that we've talked about as well, and the work needs to be genuine and effective. Now, how do you actually apply for one of these permits? Well, it's a new application process, or a relatively new application process from UKVI. There are 3 stages to it. You must complete the biometric process using your mobile phone. It scans your passport, your mobile phone does, that is, and it takes your biometric data from there. So you're not needing to go to a visa application centre and give your fingerprints. It skips that stage for you. As with most visa applications around the world, you need to complete an online form asking basic questions about your identity and your background. And then, of course, you need to provide some documentation in support of your application. You do this online in digital format. So you're not without your passport during this process at all. But then I hear you ask, how do I get my visa if I'm not giving you my passport at any point? Well, your visa is digital. It's an online digital status that's held against your passport. You don't get a traditional visa pasted in your passport as you would in many countries. You get this digital status. So that's a very high-level overview of the frontier worker permit for people who live in Europe, work in the UK, and were doing so prior to the end of last year. Some exceptions apply to the general rules that we've discussed today, but do seek further advice if you're looking into this permit in further detail. That concludes today's webinar. Thank you for watching, and should you require any further information, please find our website on screen now. For all our webinars, please follow Smith Stone Walters on social media and subscribe on YouTube or Vimeo.